Hello students, once again welcome you back to GK's Applied Maths classes. Actually we are doing Applied Mathematics class 12th, Financial Mathematics. Okay. Already I have posted videos on Financial Mathematics under the subdivisions called Perpetuity and also Sinking Fund, where we solved questions from Cbse Handbook as well as from ML Agarwal. In this video, I am planning to do questions on EMI, Cbse Handbook. Okay, questions from Cbse Handbook, and I will also be posting EMI questions from ML Agarwal also in the next video. Now, in this video, I will also be explaining what EMI is, what are the different ways you can find the EMI, and what an amortization schedule is. Okay, and I hope this video will be beneficial to you. Okay, and to get notifications for further videos, please click the bell icon, and I also request you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, now let us make a beginning with EMI. What is the definition of EMI and what is an EMI? EMI is called equated monthly installment. Now, what is an equated monthly installment? It's very simple. I borrow some money from a person. When I borrow a money, I am called the borrower. The person who gives me the money is called the lender. So I borrow money. Let us assume that lender is a bank. Okay. So I borrow money from the bank to buy a house. Okay. Now what I will do, I have to repay that money. The money that I have borrowed, I have to repay. Now how do I repay it? One of the way defined in EMI is every month at a particular date, I will be paying an amount. That amount will be constant throughout. Okay. Every month at a particular date, I will instruct the bank to deduct an amount from my account. Okay. So that amount is called the EMI. Okay. Now that EMI has two factors in it. What are the two factors? One is the principal, other one is the interest. Okay. See this, an equated monthly installment is a fixed payment made by the borrower to the lender on a specified date of each month. Every month at a specified date I have to repay it. Now that EMI, that money which I am paying every month, that EMI, it consists of two factors. One is the principal, other one is the interest. So EMI always have inside principal amount as well as the interest amount. Now the idea of EMI is, if you are taking a loan for say 10 lakhs rupees, and if you tell the bank that you will pay that loan amount in 10 years, they will charge you some interest. Okay. Now when you pay that money, that EMI amount every month, let's say for example, if it is for 10 years, for the first 6 or 7 years, you will be paying more interest than the principal. Only at the end of the EMI, end of that period, maybe from the 6th year to the 10th year, your contribution towards the principal will be higher than the interest. That is how the bank also makes money. That they are helping you, you are helping them back. Okay? It's mutual help. The advantage of EMI is I don't need money in my hand to buy a property. I can always own that property, enjoy that facility of that property by paying that EMI. Instead of paying rent, I will be paying EMI, and at the end of the loan, the house belongs to me, and I've also saved money on the rent. Okay, and the property value also increases, mind it. Okay, now EMI consists of principal as well as interest. This is something that you should never forget. EMI will have principal in it and also it will have interest in it. Now, amortization loan. Amortization of a loan means it's a process. What is the process? It's a process of paying off loan. Okay, it's a process of paying off loan through a scheduled predetermined sequence of equal payment. You are telling the bank on 20th of every month for the next 10 years, you deduct 8,000 rupees from my account after some calculation. So on 25th of every month for the next 10 years, that is for 120 months, they will be deducting 8,000 rupees. That 8,000 rupees that you're contributing every month will have two factors in it. It will have some amount of principal and it will have some amount of interest. This you should not forget, the EMI will have principal as well as interest. Okay. How much is the principal, how much is the interest, we'll discuss it little later. Okay. Now, so this is the idea of EMI. Now there are two ways to calculate EMI. The one method is called flat rate method. The other method is called reducing balance method. There are two ways you can calculate EMI. One method is called flat rate method, other one is called the reducing balance method. From the language itself, it is very clear that flat rate method means principal do not change. Watch this. Flat rate method, the principal amount remains the same throughout the tenure. When I say tenure, suppose I say the number of years is say 10, number of years is 10, the tenure will be, it will be 120 months. So for the entire 120 month, my principal amount P do not change, and an interest is calculated on that principal amount. On P only the interest amount is calculated. So when the principal do not change and we are calculating interest, it is called simple interest. So a flat rate method works on simple interest, which is not very beneficial for the person who lends you the money. That is why generally they don't follow flat rate method. Okay, whereas reducing balance method is more beneficial for the person who lends the money. Okay, so now how do I do the problem? Okay, for problem solving, P is the amount that I borrowed. I've given this little derivation. Always understand the formula, not just by heart the formula. Now, the P is the amount that I borrowed at a rate of interest R. When I say rate of interest is R, my interest is R by 100. So that is what I is. Now, what is my EMI? That is what I want to know. Now, this EMI is paid for how many months? It is paid for N months. So, total EMI paid will be number of period into the EMI that I paid. One EMI is E, but I paid it for N period. Here N is 120. Okay, and every month I pay E. E is the EMI, some amount. So N into E is the total EMI that I have paid. Now what is total EMI equal to? I have told you EMI is nothing but it has the principal factor plus the interest. Correct? Now what is my principal? My principal is P. And what is the interest? I told you the principal do not change. So the principal will be a simple interest. PNR. Here R is I. R is I is R by 100. Okay, this is N into EMI. So what is EMI equal to? P plus PNI whole divided by N. That is how you get this wonderful formula. Here E stands for EMI. So how did I calculate this? EMI of 1 month into number of times you pay is equal to the total EMI. Now what is total EMI? Principal plus the interest. Principal is P, interest is PNI. So from this it is possible for me to calculate what EMI is. So this method is called flat rate method. Very, very simple, very useful, and it comes generally for 1 mark or 2 marks. Most of the questions come for 5 marks or 4 marks. Case study questions come not from flat rate method but from reducing balance method. Now that you understood what flat rate method is, in reducing balance method what happens? The principal do not remain same. Okay, I pay some amount this month. After they calculate the interest, first the EMI, after I pay the interest, okay, and the EMI is subtracted, because from the principal you have to subtract that month EMI. That will become my principal for the next month. Suppose my principal is say 1 lakh and my EMI is say 10,000. Then my new principal should be 10,000 minus 1 lakh minus 10,000. So the principal do not, and next after that for the subsequent month, they do not calculate the interest on 10,000 or 1 lakh, they will be calculating on the reduced value. That is why it's called reducing balance method. See, in the beginning it's 1 lakh. For example, it is 1 lakh. I'm just taking an example. I have taken 1 lakh. I pay an EMI. After doing calculations, I have to, my principal for the next month is no longer 1 lakh because I already paid some amount. In that some amount, some principal is also there. That will be subtracted. Principal, they won't subtract exactly EMI. EMI consists of principal plus interest, right? So they subtract the principal from this, and that will be the new principal for the next month. Again, they calculate the interest for that. Okay, then subsequently they keep on doing it until and unless your principal final value becomes 0. Then your loan is completed. This is what you call reducing balance method, because your principal keeps decreasing. After every EMI, you take the principal part of that EMI and subtract it from the previous principal. If it is 1 lakh, for the next year it will be 1 lakh minus something. I don't know what it is, we'll come to that later. So this method is called reducing balance method. Okay. Now how do you do reducing balance method? Just watch this. This is reducing balance method. Now let me explain this. This is the formula for doing the problems. This is the formula. But derivation is not at all important. But I like to derive this result because it will give you a better understanding of what the formula is. Okay. Now how do I do it? Now tenure 1. Tenure 0. I mean, I have not started the loan. I have just borrowed the loan. So when I just borrowed the loan, my loan amount is P. This is the amount I'm borrowing. I'm borrowing rupees P. That is my present value. That is P naught. At present, my loan amount is P. Correct? Now, T1. T1 stands for the second at the from the beginning, end of 1 month. Okay, you're moved from 0 to the first month. You're moved from 0 to the first month in this location. Okay, what is my amount? You know, by compound interest formula, it is principal plus interest. Amount is principal plus interest. The principal is P, interest is PI. Correct? So I take P common, you get P into 1 plus I. That's the amount. Now, what is the new principal? The new principal will be the amount outstanding at the end of the first payment. What is that? The amount that you paid. What is that? P into 1 plus I minus the EMI. This E is the EMI. So P into 1 plus, this is the amount I have paid minus the EMI. Okay. So this is my new principal. Next, what I do? When T equal to 2, what do you mean by T equal to 2? You are in this location. Okay, in this place, what is my amount? You start with P. Okay, you are starting with P, and here your present value is P1. Okay, from here to here, from 1 to 2, my principal will be P1. Right, my principal is no longer P. It has changed to P1. So what is P? So my amount will be P1 into 1 plus I. Correct? P1 into 1 plus I. Now what I will do? I'll take this. My new principal, the amount outstanding at the end of the second month is P2 equal to, it is no longer P, it is P1 into 1 plus I minus E. P1 into 1 plus I minus E. Since the duration is from P1 to P2 is 1 month, I write 1 here. Now what is P1? P1 I take from here. I substitute this here. So P1 is P into 1 plus I minus E into 1 plus I minus E. Simple algebra. In place of P1, you substitute this value. Now you open the bracket. P into 1 plus I whole square minus E into 1 plus I minus E. This is the principal outstanding at the end of the second tenure. Now what you do? Go for T equal to 3. Now what is T equal to 3? Your amount will be P2 into 1 plus I, correct? Because you are here and this is P2 and this is my principal for that month, right? So amount will be P2 into 1 plus I. Once it is P2 into 1 plus I, what is my amount outstanding at the end of the third month? It will be P2 into 1 plus I, this amount minus the EMI. Correct? Now substitute for P2. What is P2? P2 is this, right? I take this and substitute. This is P into 1 plus I the whole square minus E into 1 plus I minus E into 1 plus I. Now just open the bracket. You get P into 1 plus I whole cube minus E into 1 plus I whole square minus E into 1 plus I minus E. If you continue this process for tenure n at the end, that's when you have to stop, right? Pn equal to P into 1 plus I power n. You see, you can understand from this recurrence formula. P into 1 plus I power n minus E into 1 less 1 plus I power n minus 1 E into 1 plus I power n minus 2 up to E. But amount outstanding at the end of the tenure will be 0. So Pn should be 0. Correct? So when you put Pn is 0 here, all the positive negative values come to one side. I'll take this to the other side. So P into 1 plus I power n equal to E, I write this first, E and then E into 1 plus I and so on up to this. Okay. This is a geometric progression. What's the sum of n terms of a geometric progression? A into r power n minus 1 by I. Now from this I want to find E. So what is E equal to? Cross multiply Pi into 1 plus I power n divided by 1 plus I power n minus 1. The formula is very simple. And don't forget this formula. You can always forget the derivation. Derivation is not important, but to make you understand the formula, I have done the derivation. If you don't like the derivation, kindly ignore. The concept is simple. I want you to understand, I want you to see only one thing, that at every tenure, your principal is changing. Can you see that? The principal is changing. That is why it's called reducing balance method. Finally, it gets reduced to what? 0. When it gets reduced to 0, you have paid the loan. The property belongs to you. Okay? That is how you get this. So, you can ignore all this if you want, but don't ignore this. This formula is very important. But this formula can also be viewed like this. How do I view it? This is the formula, right? Don't look that side, only look here. This is the formula. Now, divide by 1 plus I power n. When you divide, what do you get? Pi into 1 minus, this will be 1 minus 1 plus I power minus n. So, this is another form of the same formula. For some situations, I use this formula. For some situations, I use this formula. When to use which formula, I will let you know soon. Okay? When we do the problem, you will understand. The same derivation, this I explained because of reducing balance. I want you to understand the reducing balance method. But the same formula can also be derived in a very easy way. How? This is the EMI that you pay, right? Till the end, you keep on paying. So, what is the present value from here to here? Present value. You know, amount equal to principal into 1 plus I. So, the principal is A by 1 plus I. So, the present value is P1 is E into 1 plus I. The duration is 1 month. Now, from 2 to 0, duration is 2 months, right? So, it is E into 1 plus I whole square. So, what will be for P3? It will be, P3 will be E by 1 plus I the whole cube. So, what will be for nth term? E by 1 plus I whole power n. Correct? So, the total present value, when you take all the present value total, it should be equal to the loan amount. So, what is the loan amount? Loan amount is P. So, P equal to all this. Now, this is a geometric progression where the first term is E by 1 plus I. E by 1 plus I into A into 1 minus R power n by 1 minus R. I am using this formula. So, it is R is 1 by 1 plus I power n by 1 minus 1 by R. So, if you simplify this, you can always take this up and write it as 1 plus I power minus 1. I and I cancels. So, you get EI. So, from this, what is E equal to? E equal to Pi into Pi divided by 1 minus 1 plus I power minus 1. That is exactly what you got. So, from this, you can always go back to this. So, either you can follow this derivation or you can follow that. I did that derivation purposely to make you understand. It comes under the concept called reducing balance method. I want you to see how the balance is getting reduced. Okay. I hope this is also clear to you. Now, I want to show you one more important thing which I have prepared. This is called the amortization chart. Okay. A person borrowed 1 lakh rupees. Just have a look at it. A person borrowed, this is what you get when you go for a loan. They will type some numbers and give. So, what is this numbers? How to make this chart? I will put a separate video for this. A person borrowed rupees 1 lakh for 1 year. The tenure is 1 year. Since the tenure is for 1 year, then N will be 12. For 1 year, every month into 12. Okay. So 1 to 12. I have written here 1 to 12. Month is 1 to 12. Now rate of interest is 12% per annum compounded monthly. Since it is compounded monthly, 12 by 12 into 100. So your interest is 0.01. Okay. Now I want to prepare the amortization schedule. That means I have to tell the person in the first month what you should pay, in the second month what you should pay, in the third month what you should pay. And my EMI, after doing some calculation, I have done it already. I have got, this is my EMI. See, look at this. Don't look anywhere else. Just look only at this column. Look only at this column. For the first month, amount outstanding in the beginning is 1 lakh. Okay. And EMI paid at the end of each month is 8,884.80. This is the EMI. Now, what is my interest? Interest is, first is, principal is what? 1 lakh into 0.01. If you multiply this, you get 1,000 rupees is the interest. Okay. But you know, EMI is principal plus interest. So what is interest? EMI minus principal, right? So what is EMI? EMI is this, interest is this. So what is the principal paid? Principal is EMI minus interest. So what is the principal paid? EMI minus 1,000. EMI minus 1,000 is 7,884. Correct? This is the principal paid. Even though you pay 8,884.88, you are not paying the entire thing for the loan. You are paying 1,000 rupees as interest. Only 8,884 has fallen into your principal account. Okay. So your new principal for the next month will be 1 lakh minus this principal you have already paid. Since you have already paid, it's 1 lakh minus this, it will be 92,115. This is your new principal. It has reduced. You see, from 1 lakh it has reduced to 92,115. That's why it's called reducing balance method. Now this will be the new principal for the second month. Now have a look at this second line. This will be the principal for the next month. You are paying EMI. You calculate 0.01 for this. That will be the interest. Now EMI minus interest gives you the principal paid at the end of each month. So this is the principal that you have contributed. This is the amount that you have contributed to the principal. Okay. Now what happens? This is your old principal and this is what you have contributed to the principal. Since you have contributed to this, what will be my new principal? This minus this will give you the new principal. See, it has reduced from 1 lakh to 92,000. From 92,000 it has come to 84,000. And if you repeat this process for every month, okay, for every month, you see in the 11th month your balance is 8,796.89. And if you pay the last EMI, your balance is 0. Finished. Okay. Now you see what happens. What is the total? My principal paid. My principal paid is 1 lakh, which is perfectly correct. My total principal paid is 1 lakh. That's what I have to pay. But I also paid interest. What is the total interest paid? I add all this. Total interest paid is 6,618. So for borrowing 1 lakh rupees for 1 year at 12% interest, I have to pay 1,06,188. That means the bank is going to benefit 6,618. But you have utilized that money because you needed that money 1 lakh in emergency. So you have to pay interest for this. This chart is called amortization chart, which can be done very easily in Excel, which I will teach you in the subsequent videos. Okay, now let's go back to this. There are some formulas that you should not forget. I have done this. Now, principal outstanding at the beginning of the kth period. At the beginning of the kth period. I want to know what is the principal outstanding at the beginning of the kth period. So all that I do is, in this present value of regular annuity, that's what we have used. I will take the total. The total is N. From that I subtract k minus 1. If I subtract k minus 1, I will get from here. That will be my kth thing. So in place of n, I replace it by, in place of n, I replace, not equal to, replace it by n minus k minus 1. So this is my principal outstanding at the beginning of the kth period. Or you can reduce, you can write it as E into 1 minus 1 by 1 plus I to the power of n minus k minus 1 divided by I. Take LCM, you get this. Both the formulas can be used under various situations. These formulas will be useful to you. But remember, if you know this, you should get that. From there you can get this. It's very, very easy. I hope you understand why I replace n by n minus k minus 1. Why? The total is n. I want to start talk about at the beginning of the kth, so I have to remove this. From what I have to remove? From n, I have to remove k minus 1. So n minus k minus 1. I hope it's clear. Okay. Now, this is very interesting. Interest paid in the kth payment. Interest paid. You know, interest formula is principal into I, right? So what is the principal in the kth period? The principal in the kth period is this. Am I right? The principal paid in the kth period is this or this. So for this, with this you multiply I. If you multiply I, the I gets cancelled, and you see what you get. Sorry. I gets cancelled and you get this. Correct? You see, you can look at it. See, this is the formula into I. I and I gets cancelled, you get this. So it's no need to by heart this formula. If you understand the formula, you can just do the problems. Now, what is the principal paid in the kth payment? Principal paid in the kth payment. It is nothing but EMI that you pay. You all know EMI is principal plus interest. I want to know the principal, that is E minus I. So EMI minus, since it is principal in the kth payment, it should be the interest paid in the kth payment. So EMI minus interest paid in the kth payment, which you have already calculated from this formula. So if you want to do this, you have to do that. Now, what is the total interest paid? The total interest paid is EMI into number of tenure. That will give you the total EMI. From that you minus the principal. Correct? That is what is given here. Okay. I hope you understood all these problems and theory. With that, I'll do. There are totally 5 questions. It's already 27 minutes, but then I want to finish this. Okay. So let me do the problems. I will be doing logarithms for all these problems, and then we'll see. And then so that I can continue with EMI from ML Agarwal in the next video. Okay. I hope you have patience to listen to this. Now, Mohan takes a loan of 5 lakhs at 8% annum interest at 6%. The EMI, and calculate the EMI under flat rate method. So since it is flat rate method, what is my principal? He takes a loan of 5 lakhs. And what is the interest? The interest is 8 by 100, which is 0.08. And what is the tenure? The tenure is for 6 months, right? And 12 into 6, which is 72. So now what is the formula for EMI? EMI equal to principal plus PNI over 100. Now what is the principal? Here first let me, or you can call this as I, interest. Okay, where I is PNI. Now what is the interest? How do I calculate interest? 8 by 100, it is 5 lakhs into 8 by 100, okay, and the tenure is for 6 years. So if you calculate this, what do I get? 2,40,000. You can do the calculation, it's 2,40,000. Now take this and substitute here, divided by n, which is 5 lakhs plus 2,40,000 divided by n is 72. So when you divide this, what do you get? It is 7,40,000 divided by 72. So what will be that? That is around 10,278. That is easy to divide. It's not complicated. So again, I'll repeat. The principal is 5 lakhs. Interest is 8% per annum. So I calculate simple interest. How do I calculate simple interest? PNR over 100. P is 5 lakhs. Interest is 8 by 100. N is for 6 years per annum. Okay, for 6 years. And since the principal don't change. So interest is 2,40,000. Now what do you do? EMI is P plus PNI by N. P is 5 lakhs and interest is 2,40,000 and N is 72. Why 72? Because it is calculated per month. You see here that N was different, this N is different. Okay, this is for 12 months. Number of tenure. So here the number of tenure is 72. Okay, I hope this is clear. I hope you understand the difference between this end. Okay, this is for per year I calculate. This is for 72. This is 72 is the number of tenure. Okay, let's go to the next question. XYZ company borrows 3 lakhs with 7% annual interest rate for 4 years. Calculate the EMI. So what is my principal? My principal is 3 lakhs and my rate of interest is 7 by 12 into 100. Now why do I divide by 12? Because the interest is calculated per month. Okay, so when I divide 7 by 12, I get roughly 0.00583 and my tenure period, the number of tenure is 4 into 12. 4 into 12 is 48. Now since this data is given, based on this only you decide the formula. Since this data is given, what formula should I use? EMI equal to, let's go back and see. Now look at this. You have two formulas. In this only I have 1 plus I power minus n, so I'll be using this formula. So it is Pi divided by 1 minus 1 plus I to the power of minus n. So you should know when to use this formula. Suppose if it is given power 48, I'll use the other formula. So what is P? P is 3 lakhs divided by 1 minus 1.00583 whole power minus 48. Now this is 3 lakhs divided by 1 minus 0.7564. This is also given to you. This is 3 lakhs divided by, what is 1 minus 0.764? I have done the calculation already. It is I forgot the I, 0.00583, and if you multiply the numerator, I think you get 1749. Okay, I forgot to I missed that. 1749 divided by 0.2436. 2436. Now you can use a logarithm to do the calculations if you want. So this is log of 1749 minus log of 0.2436. The characteristic for this is 3 and log of 1749 will be 2427 minus bar 1 point. The log of 2436 will be 3867. It's 3867, and when we subtract you get 3.8560. Already we have discussed all these logarithm problems in perpetuity and sinking fund. Okay. So now you take anti-log. So anti-log of, this is actually log E. So E equal to anti-log of 3.8560. Now look at the anti-log of 8560. The anti-log of 8560 will be 7178. Since it is 3 characteristic, it should be a 4 decimal places, a 4-digit number. So my EMI is 7178. There will be a slight variation from the book answer because we are used to logarithm. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Now let's look at this question. This is question number 3. Now here my principal is 6 lakhs. From the question is very clear, and the rate of interest is 9 by 12 into 100, which is 0.0075. You can always predict from this, okay? And n is 5 into 12, which is 60. So everything is done. So which formula am I going to use? Equal to pi into 1 minus 1 plus I to the power of minus n. So EMI is 6 lakhs. Previously I forgot to multiply by I. Now I will not make that mistake. Divided by 1 minus 1.0075 whole to the power of minus 60. Now when you multiply 60,000 with 0.0075, I have done the calculation. It is 4,500 divided by 1 minus, it is 0.637. The value is given to you. Now since the value is given to you, this will be 4,500 divided by, I think it is 0.3613. Okay, 3613. Now do by logarithm. Log E equal to log of 4,500 minus log of 0.3613. Now what will be log of 4,500? The characteristic is 3 point, and log of 4,500 is 6532 minus, and what is the characteristic of 3613 point? Decimal place is here, so it's bar 1.3613. The log is 5579. Now if you do subtraction, I think you get 4.0953. 4.0953. Now look at the anti-log of 0953. So E equal to anti-log of 4.0953. Look at anti-log of 0953. When you look at it, get 1246. But you know, it's a 4-point characteristic. Characteristic is 4. It should be a 5-digit place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, add 1, 0. So my EMI is 12460. Very, very simple, isn't it? Now let's go to question number 4. In question number 4, a person amortized a loan of 1,50,000 for a new home by obtaining an interest of 10 by 12 into 100. Sorry, 12%, no? It's 12 by 12 into 100. And for the tenure of 10 into compounded monthly, right? 10 into 12, which is 120. Perfect. So this is 0.01. From the data, principal is known, 10 years, so it is 10 into 12, and the rate of interest is 12 months, compounded monthly, so I divide by 12, I got 0.01, isn't it? Now, look at what is given. This is what is given to you. So the power is positive. So I will not be using the previous formula, but I will be using the first one which I gave you. So what is the formula? It is pi into 1 plus I to the power of n divided by 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1. Okay. So E equal to, what is P? P is 1,50,000 into, what is I? I is 0.01, and what is this? 1.01 to the power of 120 divided by 1.01 to the power of 120 minus 1. Simple. Now what do? You multiply. You multiply 1,50,000 with 0.01. You get 1,500 into, what is 1.01 per 120? It is 3.3004 divided by 3.3004 minus 1. Now this usual normal multiplication, you can always multiply 15 with this, it's not complicated. So when you multiply that, I am getting 495 950.6. Okay, divided by, when you subtract this, you get 2.3004. This I will do calculation using logarithms. So log of E equal to log of 4950.6 minus log of 2.3004. Now what is the characteristics? It's a 4 decimal place, 4 digit number, so the characteristic is 3. Now you look at 4951. So you need 4 places, right? 4951, because 6 is more than 5. So round it off, 4951. When you look at log of 4951, I think I'm getting 6947. 6947. Now here the characteristic will be 0 because it's a 1 digit number. And look at the log of 2300. That's all. Ignore 4. Because 4 is less than 5. So I will look into the log table for 23 and 00. That's all. When you look into the logarithm, I'm getting 0.3617. When you get 0.3617, now you can subtract. If you subtract, what do you get? Normal subtraction. You get 3.3330. Nice. Now what is E equal to? Log of 3.3330. Only look at the anti-log at 3330. When you look at anti-log of 3330, I'm getting 2154. Since its characteristic is 3, it's a 4 decimal places. So what is my EMI? EMI is 2154. That is my first subdivision. Now question is, what is the total interest paid? Okay, now what is total interest paid formula? Total interest paid. Total interest paid is N into EMI minus the principal. Correct? Now N is the number of tenure, 120. And what is the EMI? 2154 minus what is the principal? My principal is 1,50,000. So if I multiply this, I'm getting 2,58,480. I have done all the calculations, and otherwise so much time will be wasted here. So when you subtract this, I'm getting total interest paid as 1,08,480. So if you borrow 1,50,000 and for 12% interest compounded monthly, and if you're going to repay it for 10 years, see the amount of interest that you pay. Okay, so a person amortized a loan of 1,50,000. Now let's move on to the next part. A couple wishes to purchase a house for 12 lakhs with a down payment of 2,50,000. So what happens is, they have 2,50,000 money with them. So what they will do? They will pay that as an advance. So once they pay that as advance, they don't have to pay. Your principal will no longer be 12 lakhs. It will be 12 lakhs minus 2,50,000 because you already paid this much amount. So the subtraction will be 9,50,000. So your loan amount, even though your house cost 12 lakhs, since you already paid 12 lakhs in the beginning itself, your interest will be calculated only for 9,50,000. Okay. Now what is the interest rate? 9 by 12 into 100, which is 0.0075, and the number of years is 20 into 12, which is 240. Now since this is power is positive, I will use this formula, Pi into 1 plus I to the power of n divided by 1 plus I power n minus 1. Now what is P? 9,50,000. I hope zero. And interest is 0.0075. 1.0075 to the power of 240 divided by 1.0075 to the power of 240 minus 1. Okay. Now, 9,50,000 into 0.0075, I'm getting it as 7,125 into This value is already given to you, 0092 divided by 6 point minus 1 will be 5.0092. Now if I multiply these two, I happen to get it as 42,815.55 divided by 5.0092. So now you take log. Log E equal to log of 42,815.55 minus log of 5.0092. What is log of 42,800? It's a 5-digit number, so the characteristic is 4. Now look at the log for 4282. Okay, 4282. Round it off to 4-digit number. 4282. When you look at 4282, I think it is 6316 minus 0 point. Here you look at 5009. Don't look at 2. 5009. That will be 6998. So if you subtract, you get 3.9318. 3.9318. This is log E. So E equal to anti-log of 3.9318. So look at only 9318. If you look at 9318, I'm getting 8547. And since it's a 3-point characteristic, it should be a 4-digit number. So my EMI is 8547. That finishes my first subdivision. What is the total interest paid? Total interest paid will be, use the formula, just like the previous case, N into EMI minus principal. N is 240, EMI is 8547. From this you minus the principal. What is the principal here? Don't minus 12 lakhs, you have to minus only 9,50,000. And the answer is 11,180. Okay. So I hope it's very clear to you. I have completed all the questions, exercise questions from the Cbse handbook. I hope it's useful to you. We will be doing EMI questions from ML Agarwal also in the next video. So kindly subscribe to my channel, and I also click the bell icon to get notifications of all videos that I post. If you have any question or any queries, you can always any question or any query that you have, you can always put in the comment column, or I have the WhatsApp group also. Okay, you can WhatsApp me on this group. The link will be put over there, put in the description box. So I hope it will be useful for you. Okay, have a nice day once again. See you in the next class. Bye bye.